All right. I think it is 11:15 now. So I'll go ahead and share the note links again. It's up there in the chat. And let me share my screen. I do have the presentation link. Let me see if I can just share the link. Where's my chat windows in? There we go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I just want to start by saying, before we can begin, I'm speaking to you from Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish, all who had their traditional unceded ancestral land taken, often violently, by the so-called Mother Settler Nation of Canada on Turtle Island. And I encourage you and invite you to share the land that you live and work upon. You can do that in the chat. If you're unfamiliar with that, native-land.ca is a really good resource for this. So today's just going to be rather casual. It will just like I'll start with like introductions and like general introduction to the group and the book, and just like kind of an update to some of the things we've been doing. Before I go further, I should probably say I'm Bray Watson. I'm a PhD student at the University of British Columbia, and I'm interested in equitable cataloging throughout Glamis broadly. And I also serve on the board of the Homosaurus. And if you were at the Homosaurus meeting like 2 hours ago or so, it was great. And thank you for everybody who showed up then. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat as well, please. You can just like name, job, institution. It's probably the easiest way. For those of you who don't know, this group was founded, I believe, in like 2010. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we were founded at one of the first LD4 conferences because we realized there was not really a space for discussions around ethics and linked data throughout like many of the other institutions or conference programs. So I've been glad to see that slowly spread. I am the convener of the group, and we meet about monthly on the first Monday of every month. There is a series of links that I'll just share. Here we go. The first link there is the notes to the meeting today. And then the second one is if you want to join the actual official LD4 Slack, and our channel in that is Ethics LD. And then finally, the checklist is something we'll touch on a little bit later. And we also do have a wiki page here if you're interested in learning a little more about the group. And I will, some of you might know, and I think I see some of our authors in the presentation today. We do have a book on ethics and linked data, and I'll let my co-editor Kat speak to that. Thanks for the link.
Hi, sorry, I was introducing myself in the chat, but I'll just introduce myself here, I guess. I'm Kathleen Burlingame. I work at the University of Pennsylvania. I manage metadata cataloging for electronic resources there. I also lead a group that is looking into diversity, equity, inclusion issues in our discovery environments. And I was one of the founding members of this group. We actually started in 2019, so we're not quite that old, Bree, but we started after the first LD4 conference. There was a breakout session in which we discussed ethics, and it was a really impassioned conversation. We realized that the conversation should continue, so we thought an affinity group would be perfect because of the inclusive nature of affinity groups and the LD4 community. So we had a lot of really interesting conversations from the get-go, everything from harmful biased language to privacy issues to how linked data is appearing in knowledge panels, data sovereignty issues, a lot of the things that are discussed in the wider cataloging metadata community that are sort of with the linked data aspect sort of exacerbated or or possibly even mitigated by the technology possibilities that linked data affords. So the book grew out of a need to create something a little more permanent and lasting than just the discussions that we were having in the Affinity group. And at this point, we have a sort of short list of accepted chapters, which is really exciting. But part of the purpose of the book is also to involve as many folks as possible in as many ways as possible. So we have a bunch of appendices in the book that we are hoping this affinity group can help us to develop. So it's not just coming from the perspective of a limited group of people who are limited by their own positionalities and whatnot. So the group meets, when are we meeting? We still meet every first Monday of the month at, I believe 11 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to participate in the writing of those appendices, you can come to our meetings, and I believe maybe we'll be able to get to that partially today as well. And those appendices are a checklist for ethical work in linked data projects, as well as a bibliography. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to, oh, Bree, did you want to mention our call for peer reviewers?
Yes, thank you. I totally forgot that. And so just like a brief, kind of summary, some of the topics that are talked about in the book are like ethics of sustaining vocabularies and linked data, various hip hop collections and those linked data in video games, linked data in Fedora, non-binary linked data, indigenous linked data, as well as linked data in archival description and libraries as well. We are looking for various peer reviewers, as it's going to be an open peer review process. So all the authors will be peer reviewing each other, and then we are opening to have peer reviewers from outside of the authors. So if you are interested in being a peer reviewer or participating in the group as well, feel free to get in touch with me. I'll share my information in the chat in a little bit. Other than that, yes, as Kat was saying, the checklist is really the main focus of today's meeting. And it's also, I think I forgot a slide here. I was going to do just kind of like a general introduction. There we go. I did forget like a bullet point, but I just wanted to just do a small little updates from news from our previous business, and then I'll just turn it over to the checklist. Previously in our last group meeting, we did talk about the fact that there is a number of bots going about on Wikidata and assigning gender to people on Wikidata based on their name. Our plans for probably the next couple of meetings is to hopefully collaborate or make touch with the LGBTQ Wikidata group and to see if there can be any collaboration or discussion around action that could be taken around that. So yes, again, we'll continue the conversation in our Slack. The checklist specifically, which was today, the checklist comes from this fast.ai article, which is really good. They quote this book called Ethics in Data Science that I have up here, but the argument really goes that as checklists have helped doctors make fewer errors around bias and ethics in medicine, they argue that checklists as well could also help those who are working in technology to help make fewer ethical errors, especially when we're considering things like things that might not be within our purview or things that might be outside of our own positionality. So I think I'll just go there actually. And this is the checklist I've already shared in the chat, and I will share it one more time. I was thinking that we would take a little bit of time for all of us to review the I'll share link in a second. Sorry, Zoom is fighting me with pasting stuff. So how about we take, let's see, it's 11:25 now. Say we'll take 15 minutes for everybody to go through the checklist, and feel free to make comments or to know anything that looks out of place or add anything to the document. I will shut my screen share. And Michelle can stop the recording if you want. There we go.